Ron Paul is not only a doctor. Ron Paul is not only a baseball player. Ron Paul is also a spell checker and English teacher. We got a nice email this morning thanking us for the article about Ron Paul being groped that's on Drudge, because he's very angry about them groping him, but telling us that proper English is rein in, R-E-I-N, or how do you spell it, versus reign with a G, which means reigning. So Ron Paul is now spell checking or doing the English on our articles as well. That guy literally works 18 hours a day, folks. No exaggeration. He's 75 now, isn't he? I mean, how does Ron Paul do this? In fact, let me actually go to my article and show you what he spell checked. Also, Watson wrote an article about this guy, basically saying down with big sis on his back and stripping down to Speedos. And then they're telling him, put your shirt back on. Well, you're about to see me naked anyways. See, that's about people taking power and taking control back over their lives by illustrating the absurdity of them naked body scanning you and groping you. It's a lot less absurd to just strip down into your underwear. And then they still will pat you down even if you insist. They're so crazy that they're letting people do that. Oh, yeah, strip down. Yeah, we had the reign, like a reigning king in there, and it's actually R-E-I-N. His quote, and insist we rein in the TSA. Oh, man, it's crazy when Ron Paul's spell checking our English. He's like our English teacher now. You got to admit that's funny. Maybe now that Ron Paul has noticed these but you know what? Our writers are awesome. They're writing so many articles with so much key info. You're going to have stuff like that in there. But I don't get big sis is already trailing technology that goes even further by forcing Americans to undergo a behavioral interrogation before they're allowed to enter sporting events, rock concerts, and shopping malls. They've already ordered hundreds of these giant mobile 18-wheeler trailers with brain scanners and body scanners, they admit, rolling out, and it says to get in a concert or a football game. Again, this is a joke. I got invited out to KSCO, great station out in Santa Cruz, and they said, what kind of security you want? I said, one cop. And then they said, well, the police don't get paid here in Santa Cruz. So then the police still showed up, the sheriff's department, a bunch of security, and they wanted to do pat-downs for people going in. They were real nice, but I was like, please don't do this. They're like, we must do it. We must do it for your safety. And you know what? I was like, no, do not do it. Do not do it. I do not want them to be patted down. I do not. I want to live free, outside of fear. You can't protect me. I had a much better chance of dying driving around on those windy roads from Northern California, where I was up there doing an investigation in the days before I gave the speech. Almost had probably 15 head-on collisions in the rain and the wind, the highway. We were having bad weather while I was there, driving down these windy roads with cars coming out of their lanes. I mean, you can have a TSA guy there, standing in the middle of the lane to make sure I don't wreck. I mean, the world is dangerous. Anyways, they were great folks. I'm not complaining. The point is, I'm complaining about the radio station. I was complaining about 20 cops to protect me and acting like I was the president and grabbing me and carrying me in, up to the podium each time. I was having to hide. I'd try to go to the bathroom. They'd be following me. I mean, a lot of them were fans, but it's just crazy. I want freedom, okay? I mean, I don't need a TSA person in my pants to keep me safe. Literally, government in your pants. But this is an incredible article. I think the tighter we get on aviation, we have to also be thinking about going on to mass transit or the trains or maritime, so that we do need to be doing to strengthen our protections there, said Napolitano. And Pistol, the head of the TSA, said the same thing. Mobile X-ray scanners have already hit the streets with more than 500 backscatter X-ray scanners. He just goes through it all. I mean, you think they're going to stop with pulling your colostomy bag off or pulling your artificial breast off from breast cancer or sticking their hands in your sutures or groping your 2-year-old? That's the beginning. They want to take your blood to get a driver's license. They want to take your blood at checkpoints. They take your baby's blood for 39 years at birth. I want to come back in the next segment, jam a few calls in. Webster Tarpley's coming on about all of this. But I wanted to bring Ted Anderson up briefly. Gold's basically holding steady where it was yesterday, going way up. And I just want to encourage people with all that's happening in the economy to get involved in gold and silver today. Here's the headline out of the China Daily. That's one of the basically a government mouthpiece. China, Russia quit dollar. All their business with each other is now not going to be in the dollar. The world is going away from the dollar because the Federal Reserve that runs us is devaluing it, and they know and are upset. Ted, what does this mean to have China and Russia announce they are leaving the dollar now?
Well, what it means is that there's a lot of reserves over in Russia and China that will be leaving those countries. They'll have to sell away the U.S. dollar and buy, back a currency that's more hard and something that they can trade with, or their own currencies. And the only reason why the dollar has been able to last this long is because China and places like China have been buying U.S. treasuries and using the U.S. dollar as a world currency that you can trade internationally. People would always run to the dollar for security and safety. It was like the gold standard of all the currencies in the world. And now everybody's looking at the United States dollar like it's this dying Goliath that's just, laying over and just, it's like it has cancer and it's just dying. They want to get away from it. Bottom line, they do not want to own the U.S. dollar. Unfortunately, us here who have our investments in stocks, bonds, annuities, everything else that is denominated in dollar is going to watch that go into the toilet along with it all. It makes me just so infuriated when I hear this and I read it, and because I'm reading the same stuff you are. We were the #1 superpower of the world and still should be. But this nation has taken the wrong turn in 1913, went to a fiat printing system in 1971, and the thing has done nothing but go into the toilet. This era of us living on a gold standard is done. People know that the United States dollar, we're just not credible anymore. That's quite a hit for us to take here in the United States. We shouldn't stand for it. Our politicians should be hung out to dry for this one, and certainly the Federal Reserve System as well. It drives me crazy, Alex.
Absolutely, Ted. People need to call and get gold and silver. You've got the best deals out there. Most people are sold out, or they've got huge premiums. Check it for yourself. The silver half dollars, the silver dollars, the francs, the sovereign gold coins. You've got amazing deals. You've got a deal where you get 3 silver dollars basically at cost with 3 shipping and 3 of my most popular newest films for $97. Nobody can beat a deal. You're losing money on that. 800-686-2237, 800-686-2237. Ted, what are some of the other gold and silver coin offers you can offer for radio listeners?
Full-year subscription to the International Forecaster. You buy the franc coin just for the cost of a franc at $2.94. You're going to get a complete year of Bob Chapman's analysis on what's going on economically. The British Sovereign at $3.69. You buy one of those, you're going to get 5 of your DVDs. We have the Walking Liberty half. In case anybody looked, silver is up today. It's been as high as $27.66. It is going through the roof. Silver Walking Liberty halves are at $12.84. The Lakota Nation coins are still available at $34. The $20 Liberties and $10 Liberties. This is the stuff that we stock.
Absolutely, you can't beat these deals, folks. 800-686-2237. Get into precious metals today, and if there was any profit in this, it would support a good cause, the radio network and my show. But at these deals, it's a loss leader. 800-686-2237. Ted, thank you so much for spending time with us. We'll come back jamming a few calls.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We got the Tarpster, Doc Tarp, joining us, coming up with key intel in the next segment, jamming a few calls as well. Let's go to your calls now. Noah in Oklahoma during National No Fly, No Grope Day. Welcome, Noah.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate everything you do for us, and thank God for that senator you just had on.
Congressman, yeah, he's a great guy.
Congressman, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. I just wanted to give you a quick tip and all your listeners about, how you've been talking about the unhygienicness of the, they're using the same gloves to check everybody. Well, my grandma just died of MRSA, and people don't realize how serious MRSA is.
That's right. Much worse than crabs or things like that is flesh-eating bacteria. Yes,
and she not only that, but my father was actually taking care of her, and now he's got it. It's that contagious. I mean, he's pretty, tries to take care of himself, but when you're
No, this is a point I've made for months and asked our great writers to do stories on, but WorldNet Daily did it, and finally it's getting attention. But we need a story about MRSA, flesh-eating bacteria. You know it's being spread by the airports, and a story in the same article about taking your shoes off, where thousands of people are from all over the world picking up all of their bacteria and all of their fungus. This is disgusting. And the government, who always obsesses during flu season about washing your hands and all this, they're not spraying stuff on the floor. They're not mopping it every time because they don't care. It's a disease factory.
Exactly. And it's so serious that right now my father's trying to find some help that, I mean, even the doctors are, kind of trying to downplay it to not scare the public. But, I mean... I
can see the headline now. Is flesh-eating bacteria being spread through airports? Then you show the statistics of record numbers of flesh-eating bacteria spreading. Then you point out the bacteria and fungus from where thousands walk through from all over the world in the dirty airport. I mean, it just goes on, and then them going, and then you take the quotes with the TSA talking about going under the fat rolls and all of the dead skin and toe cheese that's under there, and they have whatever term you use for that, the detritus, and they're just smearing it all over. I mean, this is disgusting.
It really is. Well, I just wanted to give people that tip, and just be sure that when you go, you better bring some kind of silver or oil of oregano or something. But the other point I wanted to make was I called last week about having the Info Warriors call into Saturday programs to reach a targeted audience. They've got Richard Land. He's got a program on Saturdays, and I know it's a small program, but he's pretty big in the Southern Baptist Convention. And that guy, for years, I've listened to him every Saturday, and he's such a Bush bot, or he was. But I'm telling you, he went through the pat-downs at the TSA, and that guy has came around. He admitted on air, and I called in.
There's nothing like having some guy stick his hand down your pants to make you angry.
Exactly. And so I took my own advice, so I called into a show, and I was able to talk to that guy without being cut off.
No, I agree. People should hit the regional shows, the specialty shows, and reach millions. Good point. Good job there, Noah. Let's go ahead and go to some more calls here. Let's talk to George in Connecticut. George, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. I thought of another way of upping the ante for these characters. Why not use every opportunity that people have to go to the airport, basically handing out flyers while you're in those lines and everything, that not only to the passengers about the dangers, the actual scientific dangers of the scanners and the biological possibilities of contracting, whatever the heck you want to list, but also to the actual TSA guys and say, look, guys, you're more vulnerable than we are. Your hands are all over the place. You just because you have rubber gloves, because you're next to the scanners, drive them crazy. And then one other thing, take it home demonstrations for the private jets at the airport. Good example, Westchester Airport, right on the borderline, where all the Soros and Clinton and all these guys fly out of, because it's right on the border.
That's right. Turdos lives right there, yeah.
Yeah, and they both live in Bedford, just above Greenwich, so, I mean, the Beverly Hills of our area. Anyway, if you hit that airport and say, look, why is it that we're not, we have to go through this crap and they do? Now, these Saudi princes who funded this stuff, they could fly in one of their private jets with bombs and everything like that and blow up the whole friggin' airport. I mean, what's the sense of doing this?
Exactly. Expose the hypocrisy, expose the fraud. We beat them on this issue. We beat them on all the issues. That if they can sell this absurdity, the sky is the limit. Great points. I appreciate your call, George. I want to say this right now about this whole situation and what we have going on with the TSA. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is the big fight. This is a lot bigger than just the TSA. It's about out-of-control federalization. It's about being radiated. It's about the government violating your space. It's about them selling absurdity and creating a pretext to totally take over our society. And I got a laundry list of other points, but it's a circus out there today, and I've got something else key I want to say about TSA.